LCISD Social Studies, Grade 6, Unit 5, Europe, 2016-2017. Number 1. One way entrepreneurs influence economies in Europe is by A. Creating jobs, B. Conserving resources, C. Providing skilled labor, and D. Expanding government regulations. Number 2. Europe is considered a peninsula of peninsulas, which explains why many countries in the region F experience very cold climate conditions, G depend on the sea for economic growth, H lack political connections with each other, J use terrace farming to support the population. Number 3. During the Middle Ages, Europe was characterized by feudal warfare between knights trying to control small kingdoms. As a result, Europe today is politically divided into A. Numerous small nation states, B. Many different ethnic enclaves, C. French or English-speaking nations, D. European Union and non-Union members. Number 4. What event of the mid-1900s greatly contributed to increased cooperation between European nations? F. Outbreak of war in Southeast Asia, G. Emergence of powerful nations in Africa, H. Economic competition from the United States, J. Devastation caused by the Second World War. Number 5. What religious tradition is most common in the culture of many European societies? A. Islam, B. Judaism, C. Hinduism, D. Christianity. France was the first European country to ban full-face Islamic veil in public places. France has about 5 million Muslims, the largest Muslim minority in Western Europe, but it is thought only about 2,000 women wear full veils. As president, Nicolas Sarkozy, whose administration brought in the ban, said that veils oppress women and were not welcome in France. Under the ban that took effect on 11 April 2011, no woman, French or foreign, is able to leave their home with their face hidden behind a veil without running the risk of a fine. The Islamic Veil Across Europe, BBC News Europe website. Number 6. According to the excerpt above, cultural diffusion is part of Europe has resulted in F. Violent social unrest, G. Segregation of women, H. Tension between groups, J. Adoption of new traditions. Leonardo da Vinci, 1452 to 1519, Raphael, 1483 to 1520, Claude Monet, 1840 to 1926, Vincent van Gogh, 1853 to 1890, Pablo Picasso, 1881 to 1973. Number 7. The above listed men made a lasting contribution to European culture by A. Creating folk tales and stories, B. Introducing new political ideas, C. Producing masterworks of art, D. Composing famous symphonies. This illustration will be used for the following questions. 8. The architectural example above is common throughout much of Western Europe. This type of architecture reflects the cultural influence of F. Wealthy donors in Europe, G. Christian values in Europe, H. Greek philosophy in Europe, J. Cultural convergence in Europe. Number 9. The work of art shown above continues to be studied by artists around the world. It was produced by a famous Italian artist of the European Renaissance. What is the title of this work? A. Self-Portrait, B. Mona Lisa, C. Last Supper, and D. The Knight's Bride. In addition to obscure words like Reine-Sain, some French words that appear in early English text include canon, countess, sermon, custom, virgin, purgatory, tournament, witness, constable, medicine, butler, abbey, crown, baron. There are others, and from other registers, such everyday words as fruit, rich, poor, pay, mercy, change, very, catch, also enter English during the early Middle period, but basically words in what we might broadly term administrative use cross over first. Concepts are used in Norman law, religion, and economics, and that applies to more everyday words too, if you think about it. Between 1250 and 1350, we see words entering like easy, season, sound, peace, count, as in number, continue, form, join, move, please, sudden, face, use, people, task, solid, second, final, honest. By and large, simpler words, truly everyday words, and why. What kind of people were using them? Why would they introduce them into English? I suspect that a sort of Franglish was in circulation among a lot of noble, but not necessarily intellectual Anglo-Normans, who were learning English for the first time and for good, and carrying with them an entire linguistic history. Middle English History, Dr. Tim Morris. Number 10. Based on the excerpt, French culture influenced English culture by F. Adding a variety of new books to English literature. G. Introducing new economic concepts to the English. H. Producing a new dictionary for the English language. J. Transforming the vocabulary of the English language. Natural resources of Western Europe: coal, petroleum, natural gas, uranium, iron, bauxite, fishing. The country is Russia. Number 11. Based on the map above, what natural resource helped to support industrial development in both Britain and Germany? A. Iron, B. Coal, C. Natural gas, D. Petroleum. Number 12. How does physical geography in Europe affect the distribution of goods? F. A warm, temperate climate allows for year-round work in Europe. G. Mountain barriers have closed off access to overland routes in Europe. H. Numerous highways have been built across the northern European plains. J. Navigatable rivers and harbors provide many European cities with trading ports. Bullets. The need for immigrant populations to learn native languages. Mistrust and misunderstanding of cultural differences. Displacement of native populations. Number 13. The conditions listed above are evident in France, Germany, and Great Britain, as these societies deal with the challenges created by A. Poverty, B. Multiculturalism, C. Lack of education, D. European Union policies. The Iron Curtain, 1980. Allied with United States through treaties, associated with the USSR. Number 14. Which of the following correctly identifies the location of European countries? F. England, France, Spain, Sweden, Norway. G. England, Spain, France, Norway, Sweden. H. England, France, Spain, Norway, Sweden. J. France, England, Spain, Sweden, Norway. Number 15. Based on the map, what geographic pattern was characteristic of Europe in 1980? A. Western Europe and Eastern Europe were divided by an imaginary boundary. B. Many of the countries in Western Europe had unified to form the European Union. C. A physical barrier was erected between France in the west and Germany in the east. D. Most countries in Europe chose to be neutral and not aligned with any other nations. Number 16. Based on the map, which peninsula is home to the countries labeled 4 and 5? F. Balkan. G. Iberian. H. Jutland. J. Scandinavian. The diagram above, starting on the left-hand side. 5th century BC, Athens adopts democracy. The second, 5th century BC, Roman Republic established. Then, 1215, the Magna Carta signed. Finally, 1700s, Enlightenment. 17. How did the events above shape political patterns in Europe? A. Most governments in Europe are limited. B. Europe is dominated by one political party. C. The European Union governs all of Europe. D. Many European nations are ruled by dictators. Economic indicators of selected European societies. Country: France, Germany, Poland, Spain, United Kingdom. It lists the life expectancy in years. It lists the literacy rate. And finally, on the right-hand column, gross domestic product per capita. Number 18. Based on the information in the table, the level of economic development in Europe is best described as F. None developed. G. Less developed. H. Newly developed. J. More developed. Number 19. One way in which the character of place of many large cities in Europe has been affected by migration includes the A. Construction of highways. B. Decline of the public school system. C. Building of modern office complexes. And D. Establishment of a variety of restaurants. Governments of selected European societies. The country: France. Republic: President of Chief of State, Prime Minister as head of government, bicameral parliament. Germany: Federal Republic, President of Chief of State, Chancellor as head of government, bicameral government. Italy: Republic, President of Chief of State, Prime Minister of head of government, bicameral parliamentary. Sweden: constitutional monarchy, monarch is head of chief, is chief of state, Prime Minister is head of government, unicameral parliament. United Kingdom: constitutional monarchy and Commonwealth realm, monarch is chief of state, Prime Minister is head of government, bicameral parliament. Number 20. Based on the information in the table, what is one way that many governments in Europe are similar? F. Most are considered to be limited monarchies. G. They were modeled after the U.S. government. H. Power is shared between two executive leaders. J. Revolutions brought about the political